Hello, everyone, and welcome back into another episode of JD's Wildcat World. On this episode, we recap the first loss of the Kentucky basketball season. And I just wanted to start out, before I get into things about basketball and things like that, I just want to say thank you guys. After starting my first podcast and the success that it's had, I thought it would be a good idea to kind of branch off and start talking about Kentucky basketball. And it's been awesome, to be honest with you. It's been I've received awesome positive feedback, and I appreciate engaging with you all. Last night was kind of the first time since I've started this one that the Cats had a big game that I got to engage with people, and I enjoy doing that. So I appreciate all of you for listening, and continue to drop 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify. That really helps the podcast get noticed more. And to my day one listeners, I appreciate you all. And like I said, it's been a good ride so far. Cannot wait to keep growing. And I'm gonna basically recap the Kansas game on this episode. I mean, you can only break down so much about Stonehill coming in here on Friday. So I didn't even know Stonehill was a D1 university, but it is, and that's who we play Friday. So we'll take maybe a quick look. I might just give my prediction on that game. But on to the Kansas game. The Cats came out at the beginning of the game. It kind of looked like we were going to get ran off the floor, to be honest with you. Started off down 11-3 and just could not stop Hunter Dickinson on the inside, and couldn't really stop anybody. We looked out of sorts, and then, Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham check in the game, and the game flips. All of a sudden, you're up one, and you're playing with these guys, and, did really well at the end of the first half. We played great. Besides the first 5-ish minutes, I was super satisfied with this team. And you're going to say, well, they blew a 13-point lead, blah, blah, blah. We had no inside presence. And if that is the number one team in the country, which I believe it is, I think personally last night we saw the top two teams in the country play each other. And the second best team, if you will, which was us, had zero inside presence. Trey Mitchell's more of a stretch big. Granted, he had a couple post moves that he scored, but we didn't have a single 7-footer active last night. And if we are the two best teams in the country, which I believe we are, folks, that's good news for us Kentucky fans, because once we get even two of the three big guys back, and now that I'm talking about the big guys, I wanted to touch on the timetable for the injuries. People ask me, when are we getting all three of these guys back? And to be honest with you, I don't think anybody knows. My guess would be Bradshaw comes back around conference play. Big Z could be tomorrow, could be not till the end of the year. I don't think Coach Cal even knows about Big Z. That's totally up to the NCAA. I'm not sure why they haven't cleared him yet, but it's starting to kind of worry me. Hopefully he gets that clearance ASAP, because I think he could. Anytime you add one 7-footer, you're in pretty good shape, and I think Big Z will be good for us. Hugo is the one. I saw some people say, well, they think Hugo will be the first one back. I'm of the opposite belief. I think he'll be the last one out of the three to come back. I think that his injury is lingered, and I think because of that, it's going to set him behind the 8 ball. He's going to have to get back in game shape, playing shape, and if I were to guess, he will be the last one back. Now, this is all totally speculation based off of what I've heard, and we will continue on, but I want to touch on those big guys. But if you all don't know, Kentucky is now co-favorites to win the national title on some sports books after last night's performance. And that goes back to us being the top two teams in the country. We're in good shape. I'm super excited about this team. I I was talking to somebody early this morning about, this loss. He messaged me and he was frustrated. He was frustrated that we lost this game. And I understand that, but I told him, this loss feels different. It doesn't feel like, losses in the Champions Classic of years past feel like, oh my gosh, we're in trouble. Like, we've got major issues that we don't know that are fixable. This year, I don't feel like that. I feel like this team showed grit, showed intensity, showed that they want to be here. And they are going to try their best to get a national championship brought back to Lexington. And I really believe that. And I think that we played as good as we could without a big man. But the first half, we ended up 7 or 8 at the end of the half after Dickinson hits a first half buzzer beater. That ended up being a huge shot that he hit there. I think the first half overall, besides the start, was solid. And then you get into the second half, and it looks like now, at the beginning of the game, it looked like Kansas was going to run us off the floor. Now as the second half goes on, it looks like we're going to run them off the floor. Then Kansas claws back, gets 16 points from KJ, and, of course, Hunter Dickinson had 20 and 20. So I think he had like 27 points, 21 boards. And we just had no answer for him, to be honest, without a big man. And, they go to him down the stretch. And we answered back with some tough buckets. Reed Shepherd hit a three that tied the game back up. Seemed like Antonio Reeves struggled towards the end. I know he had 24 points, but struggled from three. And the guy that I thought would have a breakout game did the total opposite, as Justin Edwards really struggled to get anything going. Didn't have a single field goal, only 1 point on a free throw. You saw Rob Dillingham kind of have his breakout game instead of Justin Edwards. I thought it would be Edwards, but Rob, I love his game. And there's some people are saying that Rob is selfish. I think people are basing Rob's game now off of what he did in Overtime Elite. If you watch Rob Dillingham this year, he is not a selfish teammate, in my opinion. Going into this Kansas game, he was tied for assists per games with DJ Wagner. He was averaging 3.5 a game. He had 3 in the first half. He didn't really play that much in the second half. I'm not sure what he ended up with. But I love Rob Dillingham's game. I'm going to be a Rob Dillingham stan, just so you all know. I'm here to defend him. Y'all want to come at him, I'm going to defend him. So I love his game. I think good things happen when he comes into the game. Also, Reed is very smart. Now, granted, they're both freshmen. Both of them took dumb shots at the end. But I'm here to tell you, this is a podcast where we are not going to slander players. I love this team. I love Kentucky basketball. I'm not the type of fan that talks down about them as individuals or players. That's one thing you all are going to learn here listening to this. I'm just doing this because I love it. And I think that Rob Dillingham changed the game, to be honest with you, in the first half. And if he hadn't have been in foul trouble, we might win that game. So we'll see. But I'm super excited about this team. And I hope you all are too. I just feel like that we have guys that can score at every position. And granted, I know DJ Wagner struggled. And I know Justin Edwards struggled. But you get those two guys on board. Even with the small ball lineup, without the three bigs, you're dangerous. And I really think that is something we haven't had in the last couple years. But this year we got it. And I think as a fan base overall, based on what I'm seeing, in past years we lose this game, people are furious. But they see what we've got this year. They see that, oh my gosh, this looks like an old Coach Cal team. And it does. These guys are very talented. And especially when they get out and run. I mean, when we get out and run, that's the number one team, right? That's the number one team. They could not stop us in transition. And, if they can't, who can? If we get out and run, I think we are nearly impossible to beat, to be honest with you. Just because, for example, I'm going to give you just one example. Rob Dillingham got most of his points in transition. He had just hit 3 in a row we're out running. We get a defensive stop. We're up 3. He dribbles down the floor. Well, everybody's crashing to him. He's red hot. Kicks it out to Reeves for a 3, and we go up 6. I mean, that's just one little example. Reed Shepherd's definitely better in transition. I mean, and I'm telling you, these guards, I think DJ is better in transition. And rather than sitting up and running the offense, trying to get to the rim, when he can attack on a fast break, he's very, very dangerous. So, you try not to overreact to one game, and that's one thing I would say that I'm also encouraged about, is you don't want to overreact to Justin Edwards not hitting a field goal and DJ Wagner going like 1 for 11. I'm not going to overreact. I'm going to let other big games happen, see who steps up, and see who we can rely on come March when it truly matters. But I'm proud of these Cats. I'm proud for the fight they shown. They got out, and, at one point I thought we had it in the bag. When we go up 13 in the second half, I thought we're going to cruise to a win. But Kansas is tough. Props to them. They've got very good players, and we played with them all night, though. We really did. We did good, end up losing the game by 5 by a score of 89-84. And, the future's bright this year for the Cats. And I truly believe that. Now with the good, you have to focus a little bit on the bad. I'm not going to overreact, like I said. But the one thing that really kind of worries me, there's a couple things. One thing is giving up the 13-point lead, and we've already been over kind of how that happened. We had nobody to stop Hunter Dickinson, and then if he missed a shot, they're crashing the boards. I thought Trey did a pretty good job. I mean, he did as good as I think he could have. He honestly did better than I thought he was going to, guarding Dickinson. Got a couple steals, fronted him in the post, made him work, but once Hunter got the ball in the paint, that was the key thing. Once he got in the paint, he was mainly going to score. And, that's hard. He's a good player. Kansas is really good. They're tough. And I expect them to, I think they'll win the Big 12 and might be on their way to another Final Four. So Bill Self's done a good job building that team. And respect to them. If we meet again, I like our chances. I really do. If we meet in March, I do like our chances. I'd love to have another shot at them. And especially with even 2 of the 3 of our bigs, but with all 3, I think we could beat them. So I'm excited, like I said. But one other thing that I want to touch on, I can't just sugarcoat everything. Antonio Reeves struggles in big games shooting the ball. Now, you take away, Arkansas on the road last year was a very good performance. He shot the ball well. We needed that game heading into the SEC tournament, and we got it in large part because of him. But once again, the lights shine the brightest. I go back to that Kansas State game in the tournament last year. He couldn't buy a bucket. And, he had 24 last night, but on 25 shots. 7 of 25 from the field. He attempted 17 threes by himself. And that's another thing I want to touch on. This team attempted 38 threes last night, the most in the Coach Cal era at Kentucky. And, I don't think any of them were that bad, to be honest with you. I would rather DJ drive to the basket, but if he's wide open, I'm going to go with him taking it. And Justin the same way. Granted, neither one of them, it wasn't their nights last night, but I'm good with anybody on this team taking a 3. Jordan Burks took 2 that you're like, but he was wide open, and he hit one earlier in the year. I thought he came in, gave 10 solid minutes, grabbed some rebounds. I think he had 4 total. And, that's the one thing I'm worried about is kind of Reeves' struggles shooting the ball. Hopefully he can get that touch back the next big game we have. So, I think that, that's really all you can say. I think that's a good, solid breakdown. Another thing real quick. I kind of wish that Cal would have went back to Reed and Rob a little earlier in that second half. He has said in his press conferences that he wasn't doing that intentionally. He just went with the 5 that he thought was right at that time. But kind of wish he would have went to Reed and Rob sooner to see what we did. And but it didn't. We took the L, and we'll move on. But overall, very exciting future for this year's Kentucky Wildcats. You all let me know what you think. Prediction-wise, we go into the Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, where you all got us going. And, if you watched that game last night, I don't know how you couldn't be excited, to be honest with you. They are very fun to watch, and they get up and down the floor quick. And that 3-point number, 38 threes, I don't think that, I don't think it goes down that much. I mean, you got guys, if we're out running, transition threes are very good shots most of the time if you're wide open. So I think that number, it'll go down a little bit, but I don't think it goes down all that much. I think this team is going to shoot a lot of threes, and they're going to make a lot. Second half kind of struggled from deep, but those shots will fall when you're as open as we were. So I'm very excited, and I hope you all are too. And, could we have won that game? Yes, we didn't. We're sitting at 2-1. I think we should, as long as we take care of business against Stonehill on Friday night, I think there's an argument to move us up in the AP poll. Just with the fight we gave Kansas with being only 8 deep in the rotation. So let me know what y'all think about that too, where you think we'll land in next week's rankings. And now on to preview the game against Stonehill on Friday. Now, Friday night, the Cats take on Stonehill at Rupp Arena. I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on this. I just wanted to quickly say that Stonehill, as a part of this Wildcat Challenge that Kentucky hosts every year, you get 4 or 5 teams. And Stonehill lost to St. Joseph's by a score of 100-56 in the first game of this challenge. And I'm mainly going to take a moment to talk about St. Joe's because I think, we played them on Monday. These guys are good. They're 3-0, beat Stonehill by 40-plus points. Also beat a Penn team that we play later in the year that just beat Villanova. So we better bring our A game on Monday, not to look over the game on Friday. But I'm telling you all right now, I think that St. Joseph's game is going to be closer than we think as a fan base. But, Stonehill comes in 1-3. Their lone win against Army by 13 points. UConn beat them by 40. St. Joe's beat them by 44. George Washington beat them by 45. So, be nice to come in here, not have to worry about, for example, last Friday night, coming in, getting down by 13 early. We don't need none of that. We need to come in, take care of business, be focused, and not let up off the gas. I think Kentucky gets a big win and a bounce-back way by a score of 94-60. I think the Cats win by about 35, 34 points. And I think Justin Edwards bounced back. Rough game against Kansas. I think him and DJ get their act together, and both of them do very well against Stonehill and Rupp. But I'm telling you all, looking forward to that matchup Monday night. You all better just be ready. I don't want to hear no negative comments when the game's close. I think it really will be. I think St. Joe's is a team that is very sneaky and could make the NCAA tournament, and could even beat somebody in the NCAA tournament. So we'll see. But I think we take care of business, move to 3-1 on the year on Friday night. So once again, thank you all. We'll be back to recap the Friday night game and look forward to Monday. And, hopefully we're celebrating a win next episode, and a big one at that. So until next time, this has been JD's Wildcat World. Subscribe on Apple and Spotify. Leave reviews and keep listening. You can stream on both. And hopefully soon, if you listen on Amazon Music or anything like that, with my other podcasts, it took a couple months once Amazon saw the streaming numbers on my other podcasts and impressions, etc., they contacted me, actually, and we set up getting on Amazon Music. So hopefully that's an option for this one very soon. You all will know as soon as I know. But until next time, this has been JD's Wildcat World, and thank you all so much for listening. And until next time, go Cats.